Good evening, everybody. So, a wise fisherman once said to me, while you're busy making plans, life happens. And we were supposed to have Jill T at Saber's Bunny on tonight, but she's ran into a little bit of a family emergency with her newborn baby that she's got to attend to. So, she apologizes to everyone and swears that she will be on it in the near future as soon as she gets things settled with her little one. But there is plenty of Oilers news to discuss, joined by my co-host, Mr. Bob Schmidt. Let's rip the Band-Aid off of this one and get right into it. You know, our captain has been injured a couple of times in his career. Thankfully, this one doesn't seem as serious as some of the other ones that he suffered in his tenure as an Edmonton Oiler, out a week to 2 weeks with what we're listing as an upper body injury. Part of me thinks it's either his back or a torn oblique or a strained oblique muscle. Not the best of news from a fan's perspective, but maybe it will do this team a world of good to not have to rely on the magical wonders of Mr. Connor McDavid for a few games at least. Maybe that'll kickstart some other guys.
Well, first off, thoughts to Jill there and dealing with a family emergency there. That's always tough as a parent when you got a kid who's a bit sick and what have you. So good luck to you there, Jill. I'm actually one of these guys who I'm seeing the greater good in this. It sucks to have the greatest player in the game not in your lineup. It sucks even more, for Connor's sake that he's, there's a good chance he misses the Heritage Classic, which is kind of shitty for him too. It's interesting listening to Woodcroft in the interview today that he says I would never put anything past. And one thing he's learned is never to put anything past Connor. So that kind of leaves you thinking maybe it's 4 days, right? Sort of thing instead of a week to 2 weeks. But this does get an opportunity. One thing we're also lucky that, we have the best player in the game on our team, but we also have the second best player in the game on our team. So Leon's also a guy who can carry a team. On any other team, on 31 other teams, he probably does that role for them. So we're not in shit hands here at all. It's just the fact that Connor is so much above and beyond everyone else that it's going to be a noticeable difference. But now's the time to do this. I mean, we suck here right now in 5 games. Our cap is going down. So if you want to talk about a team that's going to learn from adversity, here it is. And now we're going to do it early on. Woodcroft's going to have to make some adjustments. Teams are preparing for the Oilers specifically. They are so fired up to play Edmonton. They have game plans specific just for Edmonton. Rick Tocchet was a prime example of that. He made sure his Canucks were ready to start the season against the Oilers. Other teams are doing this too. So now Woodcroft makes necessary adjustments. I think once we find that and then Connor comes back healthy, I still say we're on track. I still say we're cup bound. We still have that bounce back in us. It's you can't look past what we have.
Yeah, I think Tocchet did do a lot of game planning specifically geared towards us. I've seen a little bit more attention to detail from Bouchard on the power play with the cute little drop
Yeah,
passes. That's
yeah.
been something that's been addressed, I think.
He does a
Or
lot more shoulder checks now before he does that drop pass.
yeah, I think you learn as you go, and you know, I figured we were being for a good game against the Flyers because Vancouver was riding high, knocking us off twice, and then they meet the Flyers and they drop a game to them. Um, so I figured we'd be in for a tough test there. I wasn't expecting us to kind of get rolled there. That was disappointing.
Well, the disappointment there was the work effort, actually, right? I didn't. I feel like we got outworked by the Flyers. The Flyers were geared up to play the Oilers, and the Oilers were kind of just uh, almost back on their laurels after beating up on Nashville. Like, okay, we're back on track, so now we can, yeah, now it's all muscle memory here from here on in, and then we got outworked. So these are some of the lessons we're going to have to learn early on, and we are.
I'm trying to build an excuse for these guys, which I don't like to do, but to me they almost seemed hungover in that game. They just didn't have their regular zest for the game. It just didn't seem like we had the normal jump that we have. I thought that ice too was almost like curling rink kind of ice. Like it didn't seem very fast. And I know they put like $400 million into their arena, but maybe they should have worked on their ice plan.
Yeah. So, but both teams are playing the same surface, so you got to
Yeah,
learn.
no,
McDavid on shitty ice is still faster than Morgan Frost on shitty ice, right? So, so that is what it is. I think I think this is one of those things where Tocchet did a master class in preparing the Canucks. He was out to send a message too, because after the Canucks kind of have been struggling here and have been some turmoil, he was out to set the tone beginning of this year. So so now it's up to the Oilers now to adjust, and so let's face this adversity early, build on that, and just oh my goodness, it's just me balls to the wall after this.
Yeah, name enters the chat, and I might as well take this opportunity to mention that his cousin Danny will be at the Heritage Classic signing autographs on the weekend there. So if you want to check that out, that would be something. There's your
I'd like to make an announcement that I will not be signing autographs at the Heritage Classic. So anybody who is tuning in for that announcement, sorry guys.
There's your plug name. I expect you to buy me lunch next time I'm in Kelowna. I've got to address the other elephant in the room, and I'll play the first clip, and then we'll talk, and then I'll play somebody's rebuttal to their own press. Here we go.
Faction. Let's listen to Evander Kane with Scott at the intermission earlier tonight.
Yeah, I didn't play much in the first period, so I thought might as well get into a fight and take 7 or 8 minutes in the box.
Okay. So Brendan Dillon and Evander fought in the second, and that was his interview with Scott. So here's the ice times.
Kevin, can I ask you something?
Please.
If a player said that in an intermission, would that get around the dressing room?
After tonight, I'm sure somebody's going to clip this on social media, and it will be viral tomorrow, because guys just don't do this. They don't take a shot at the coach mid-game about their ice time. I think it's hilarious though, but I don't know if it's the right thing to do. If you're frustrated with your ice time, maybe that's a conversation with the coach behind closed doors. Like, this thing's going to go now. And it maybe be a little bit of distraction, and I actually liked Evander Kane's game. Like, if he wasn't getting a lot of ice time, he's running around, he's fighting, he's throwing big hits, he's doing what he can to help his team. But that might cause him a little bit of a distraction.
I still don't mind when guys are defiant, though. And, maybe it doesn't look great when you're saying that about your coach, but, he's sticking up for himself. He's a proud guy, and he has been contributing well for the Oilers ever since he's been there. And, every once in a while, you got to stand up for yourself.
I said the story. I had kind of a situation where Rick Bowness was my coach, and he benched me for a third period in Vancouver. So when I finally went out, and it was a 1-goal game, I went out and I fought. And then the next day we're going over video, and he goes, "Why did you fight there in a 1-goal game with like 8 minutes left?" Mm-hmm. And I'm like, and obviously I was more animated, but I'm like, "You didn't play me all period." So when I got out there, what do you care if I'm sitting in the box for 5-6 minutes? And he was kind of like, oh, okay, I didn't think of it that way.
I think that's better than doing it on Hockey Night in Canada, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on that little?
You know what? Initially, there's probably an element of frustration. I don't think he was trying to be like a dick about it. He made an observation, and also in that first period, there's a bunch of power plays and penalty kills. He's on the second unit, so he gets his 20 seconds, and he doesn't do penalty killing. So that's going to limit it. That's going to limit his ice time as well, right? The bit of parade in the penalty box that first period. Having said that, though, too. He has to earn that ice time a little bit right now too. Like, he is struggling big time right now. He has a team lowest, team worst plus minus right now. He just, for a guy who is known as a shooter, I think he's, what is he, like 6th or 7th on the team in shots. He's still 5th on forwards in ice time, so he's still getting top 6 ice time minutes. That last game was probably the only exception where it was basically just the first period where he wasn't getting a whole lot of minutes, and then he gets in that fight, and then it shows that he's engaged, and his ice time went up, second and third period. So,
when I first saw that, I laughed. I thought it was hilarious, and the thing about it that I thought right away was, this guy's smart enough to know that he really hasn't done a lot to start the season. So he chose to get in a fight, kind of to get himself engaged. I didn't see it as like a onslaught or trying to swing for the fences on Woody there. I really didn't. I just thought it was a kind of a Evander Kane with a quick-witted comment and factual. I didn't play a lot, so I thought I'd go sit in the box rather than sit on the bench. And maybe that's a shot at kind of some of the undisciplined play of the Oilers too, because they were taking a lot of penalties, undisciplined kind. And
I don't think, I agree with that. I don't think he was swinging for the fences on Woody. I think he was, if anything, if there's anything geared towards Woody or a subliminal message he was sending, it was just frustration, maybe about the overall picture. And the Oilers are struggling. He's been struggling, and he just wasn't engaged. But he did something about it. He went and got into that fight. I think he leads the team in hits. So like, he is doing other things to try to contribute. But it's got to be frustrating. He's known as a goal scorer, and he just has nothing so far.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I look at that and I'm like, I'm glad he's not happy with the way things are going right now. To me, that's better than a guy that doesn't say anything, is completely checked out. Like, there's a little bit of passion there. I'll play his kind of rebuttal. I laugh a little bit at you guys always take things out of context. I don't think anything was really taken out of context, but people took it the wrong way.
I think it was blown up more than taken out of context.
Yeah. So anyways, we'll give his little quick rebuttal to Rashog asking about it.
You did an interview the other night that lots of people ended up talking about. Didn't get much ice time in the first period, so he went out and found a fight. Some view that as a guy complaining about ice time. How did you mean it?
Well, it's easy. It's really easy to view that complaining about ice time when they don't clip the question and they just clip my answer, right? So like, a lot of the times, when I've talked about in the media, there's always a lack in context, and that was a great example of something being taken, a quote, for me, without even there being a question involved. So people can take it as they may. And to be honest, even if you just look at the question or the answer, I just laid out the facts. I did play 3 minutes that period. I did get into a fight, and I did sit in the box for 8 minutes. So I was just laying out the facts.
The thing is, though, too, he sits in the box for 5 minutes, or 7 minutes, I guess, because they both got the helmet thing too, right? And then it was so that takes away some of his ice time too. So he would have had more than 3 minutes of ice time that first period if he hadn't taken that fight yet too.
Yeah. Name gives some context to his cousin there. Danny Hodgson played for Toronto and Vancouver and is a part of the Upper Deck First Class People's Rookie Cards released in January. We'll be signing at the Heritage Classic Fan Fest on Saturday, so the day before the actual game. He'll be there signing some autographs if you'd like to go and find him and get his autograph.
Pretty sweet.
Chats are kind of picked up a little bit. Got people from the East Coast now that we start at 8 o'clock rather than 9. before they're put to bed. Appreciate that. So what did you think of that play where Skinner came out to play the puck and Nurse decided to go and play goalie for him? And I'd like to hear your take from it from a goalie standpoint. I kind of have my feelings on it, but I'll let you go first.
I thought Skinner played a good game. I thought that play in particular actually ruined his good game in my mind. It was a crucial part of the game, and it was a bad decision on his part. I think he kind of panicked a bit. I mean, if you look at the play, if Skinner got puck focused, I don't think he realized that Nurse actually still had a play on that puck. Nurse still had a chance to win that puck, the race for that puck. If not that, then at the very least he had the angle to body the guy off it, or at least try to contain him a little bit. Nurse made the right play. I don't like that people are shitting on Nurse for that one. As soon as he saw Skinner come out, he changed course to go to the front of the net just in case. And he was there. It didn't work out. But in the end, this was a bad decision by Skinner. The Oilers are looking for stability in their net, not for high-risk gambling plays right now. When we're up 2-1, we have one of the best power plays in the history of the game is still going on, and then you take that chance. Why not take the risk of maybe possibly getting a breakaway and then making that save, and then moving that up the ice again. I didn't like that decision. It was a bit of a panicky, almost like a rookie move by Stewart, which is too bad because I thought he had a really good game. Even after that, he still had a good game, but that was a bad time.
I'm glad you confirmed everything I think, because I think Nurse recognized that he was coming out to play it, and he let off, because he didn't want to barrel over his goalie, and he knows that if Skinner doesn't get to that puck first, then there's a net there that needs to be sort of attended to somewhat. So he went to where he needed to go. Other people have said, well, he should have went after the guy behind the net. Yeah, if he does that, then Iafallo is coming down and he's got an empty net too. So you don't win that one. You try to buy your goalie enough time to get himself back in the net is really what you try to do there. And I think that's kind of what Nurse was doing. The only thing I would say that Nurse could do differently on that play is yell at his goalie to get back in your fucking net. I've got this, and shake him off. But I mean, he's used to playing with Mike Smith too. So you're not shaking off Mike Smith. So, so maybe there's a little bit of muscle memory on what not to do to your goalie in that situation. But I'm sure Nurse will play it differently. And I don't think.
Here's the thing though, too.
I don't think Stewart will play it the same way either.
Yeah, exactly. But here's the thing though, too. Like when Skinner's jumping up and making, and one thing you're taught as a goalie that as soon as you make up your mind to go for it, you go. You don't hesitate, you go, right? So he made up his mind to go and he went. So for Nurse to yell at him to go back into your net wouldn't have worked anyways, because that would have made the situation even worse. At that time, the card's been played. Stewart's committed to coming out, and so Nurse did what you're supposed to do. He went to go take away the front of the net as best as he could. So.
Yeah, I'm going to show Leon's response to it, which I love. I love that Leon did this.
What do you say to Stewart after he went out to challenge that puck that went around the boards?
What do you want me to say to him? You made a mistake, big deal. Yeah, nothing to say to him. We all make mistakes.
It's perfect.
It's perfect. And anybody who's played a high level of athletics, it doesn't even have to be professional, but even just a high level of athletics, you get there because you work so hard for it, you strive for it, but most of these athletes are tougher on themselves than anybody else. So I guarantee you, the shit Skinner was talking to himself in his head was a lot worse than what anybody could have said verbalized outward. So, yeah, what do you say in that moment? Yeah, he made a mistake. So now what? Not to bring it up and keep harping on him, it just makes it worse.
Yeah, and that's not for those guys to really say. I'm sure I don't even think the coaches needed to say anything to him. I think he knew right after it was not the right decision, and mental
I'm
note.
sure it was
not
a draft.
taking it.
I'm sure it was addressed by probably Schwartz or Woody or whatever. But just in a way of, yeah, you know what you did, Stuart. So let's move on from this, bounce back, learn from it. I don't think they would have. I don't think they would have broken it down in minute by minute kind of sequence there. Just they for sure would have touched on it. I mean, it's the elephant in the room. You can't just not mention it. But it probably would have been a private conversation where just, hey, yeah, you know what happened, so let's move on.
If if you're up by 3 goals, then you don't really have a problem with that. But 1 goal nail biter when Hellebuyck's kind of locked it down. That's
and you have a power play, and you're desperate for a win right now. Like that's just a bad time to make a high gamble risk play like that.
Yeah, no guts, no glory, but obviously no glory on that play.
The funny thing is that if he makes that play, we're all probably cheering him, right? So.
Yeah. I think Nurse wins that foot race if he stays in that anyway. So to me,
it's pretty close. Like you looked over the replay, it's going to be a close. It's going to be a close race, but there's still a chance for Nurse to win that foot race. Yes.
Like Nurse, when Stewart starts to go is when he needs to decide to turn on the afterburners. He was just kind of gliding and striding. He didn't really go full out, but I like Nurse's chances if he turns on the afterburners in that foot race. So what is this? Racist Fan Rocks 4 says McDavid will be back for the outdoor game. I hope he doesn't come back just to say that he played in the outdoor game. I hope that's not where we're at with this team. I mean, sure, great, whatever, advertisers, great, whatever. That's all the NHL. To me, my concern is the end of the line, not right now in October in a kind of a novelty game. Sorry, Kev, I know you're going, but I'm worried more about winning a trophy in April.
Well, and the thing is, though, like Woody kind of alluded to that, like that he wasn't going to rule anything out when it comes to Connor McDavid. So I myself haven't ruled him out playing in that game either. But I think they are wise enough to not push it to do more damage than good, right?
Yeah. No, I don't want him to re-aggravate something all season just because he wanted to play in the
outdoor game
in a big spectacle. Yeah. Interesting too. Stuff coming out about division in the dressing room and all this. It just, to me, it's
all this shit's going to come up when you're losing. That's when all this stuff and who knows where it's coming from. It could be just a reporter or some bystander kind of whispering that in the wind. Oh, I've heard this. So that starts spreading, right? I mean, we're all looking for an excuse of to why the Oilers are struggling. So now one of the things going to be brought up is, there's division in the room. That's one of the reasons why we're struggling, right? I know the guys aren't happy. I mean, why would you be happy to come out and have only won one game so far? You're not going to be happy. But as for these guys being divided in there, I don't. How come we didn't hear any of this until now, until 5 games into this season? And it's basically the same core group. How come we didn't hear any of it then?
Yeah.
We're reaching for straws at this point. So.
Yeah, there's such a huge division in the dressing room that these guys came to the captain skates 2 weeks before the rest of the league. Come on. It's clickbait bullshit nonsense. Sorry. Got to call it out.
Well, there's going to be more. I mean, if the Oilers keep losing here the next couple, there's going to be more rumors of some bullshit stuff that people got to try to hang their hat on. And like, it's just a matter of time, if it hasn't happened already, that there's going to be people making trade rumors or trade suggestions saying this guy's dead weight, he's gone, and Woody's on the hot seat and that sort of stuff. So
Mr. Alan Mitchell came out with a pretty scathing article. I don't have a prescription to The Athletic, but I know kind of what went on in it, and I didn't like that, and it's not really his character to kind of be on the doomsday kind of train, but that's where he was at. I don't know. I still think this is a good hockey team. I'm not abandoning ship on this season whatsoever.
Look at this. Kane hasn't found his game yet. He's probably been our worst player so far, and I'm a big believer in Kane. There's no way he's not bouncing back from this. He's still got 30-goal season in him. Ekholm's still finding his legs. Connor Brown's still finding his legs. Both those two guys have come up pretty slow. Holloway has been one of our hardest workers, but he has yet to find the net. That he keeps working the way he is, there's no way he's not putting up some points for us.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of as much as there's a lot of individuals that are struggling right now, and that's affecting us as a team. And so like that's just the perfect storm for the losses right now. But this team is too good for those guys in particular to not start producing in some way or another.
I've liked, Holloway's game and Warren Fogle. To me, those two guys have brought a consistent effort every game this season. I've really liked what I've seen out of them.
I think Holloway's been probably our most consistent forward. I mean, he hasn't produced any points yet, but man, he's worked his tail off. He's out to prove something this year. Fogel's a good point. Fogel's been pretty strong. I think he proved a lot of us wrong that when he was given the top 6 role, because one of us was kind of shaking our heads going, Fogel's not a top 6 forward, and maybe he isn't by book, but his first few games where he's played up there, he's done his part. He definitely knows his role on that line of what he brings to the table. He's not necessarily looked upon to be scoring goals on that line, but he's there to produce chances, and he's been doing that.
I've got a little overlay I'll put over top of us, and we can keep talking through this one. But Sam Gagner, Sammy signed a contract with the Condors today. I got the McDavid news that we've already touched on the other side. But yeah, Sammy is going to play some AHL games, and who knows what goes on from there. Some things have to happen in order for him to get a call up. And I think before any of that happens, he needs to play a few AHL games and see where he's at.
I think we need to play a lot of AHL games before they see where it's at, because that's a pretty big surgery he's coming back from. And it'll definitely look how long it's taken guys like Connor Brown to find his legs already, and Ekholm, who didn't even come off a major injury, but just the fact that he missed camp is slow going. So a guy like Gagner who's coming off, of those 3 guys, he's coming off the most serious things of all. So it's going to take a while. I do think they'll call him up at some point later on in the year, like past the halfway mark, maybe 3/4 of the way mark kind of thing, where he'll get called up. If anything, almost like a Jason Demers situation where he comes up for his little celebration game, and then kind of gets to retire his NHL career as an Oiler.
I hope for Sam it's more than just a ceremonial thing. Like I hope he actually gets called up on merit and can hang his hat or his skates up on sort of his own terms, more than just last hurrah kind of game. Just gotta check the comments here. You guys are chatting away pretty hardcore. Now we're getting trade requests. Campbell and Broberg for Gibson. Let's go. Yeah, I don't know if I'm sold on needing John Gibson at this point, but
I'm still. It has the goaltending has been disappointing so far. Besides the one game where Campbell was a superstar, so that part's been disappointing, especially since that was a bit of a problem last year for us, for consistency wise. So it's tough to come out of the gate. And that's still an issue. But I think what's even more alarming, though, a bigger issue, is our penalty kill is still atrocious. Yeah. So, proper focus on that here and to right that ship would be number 1 priority, I think.
I've thought Campbell's actually given us some pretty good starts. Just the team in front of him hasn't delivered.
But the same goes here for, like, you need a save at a certain point.
Skinner was great against the Jets, other than the gaff.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. It's that gaff. It's those mistakes that we need to avoid. In all honesty, it's just been the Nashville game where I was very happy with our goaltending. Other than that, the guys have shown flashes. They make a big save here and there, and then they let in a questionable one, like the one goal in Philly by Campbell. That was a questionable one. Skinner's gaff their last game. That this is all stuff that we're trying to avoid when we need them to be solid.
Yeah, no, I'm right with you. For a little while, I thought Campbell was the better of the two, but Stewart played really well against the Jets, and he did what I wasn't sure would happen was after that gaff, he locked it down. He needed to do that in the third to give them a chance to, get the lead and walk that thing home. So he did his part as far as I'm concerned. I can live with the gaff if you shut it down after that. It's still a tied hockey game. You still have an opportunity to win it.
This is one of those rare instances that where that one gaff kind of overshadows everything. I agree with you though. I agree with you though. Like, he played very well leading up to that gaff, and he played very well after that gaff.
Yep.
But that gaff just overshadows everything, and it's unfair to do, but it's tough to look past it and say he had a good game. I mean, because that was a game you lose as a team. Like, he gave the Oilers a chance to tie it up and to win it in overtime for sure, but he kind of put us in that position where we had to try and do that.
Yeah. No. It sucks because it takes away from a 59-minute and 50-second great performance.
Exactly.
and overtime too. I mean, I don't fault him for the overtime winner either.
No.
Draisaitl lost a check.
Yeah.
So I mean, going back to that question for Dry, I mean, you want him to throw the goalie under the bus and not take any onus of his own mistakes. So good for him to say, everybody makes mistakes, because
he showed good leadership there. So
yeah.
That would have been hypocritical of him to start shitting on Skinner when Leon's gaff was the game-winning goal.
Yeah. This here.
I actually thought that game. I thought Zach Hyman was our best player last game.
And I thought that was the best game Nurse has played all season too. I heard
Nurse
another
best team in that game. Yeah, no, I agree with you.
I heard another channel talking about Jake DeBrusk for Kane. Yeah. I mean, Jake DeBrusk gets scratched in Boston, so all of a sudden it's Kane for DeBrusk because Kane said some things.
DeBrusk got scratched because he missed a meeting. It wasn't performance-based at all.
Yeah.
There's some tardiness there. But I won't judge him. I've been late for work quite a bit, so. I also don't get paid millions of dollars and don't have that kind of responsibility. But
yeah, shit happens. Boston's rolling. That's a bit of a surprise, I guess, to
some of the guys.
Yeah, well, I don't think any of the boys on the Heavy Hockey Network for Michael's EST show predicted any of the Bruins making the playoffs.
I called it. I actually called the Bruins make to the final. I think there's less pressure on them this year. There's less focus on them. They are not that dominant regular season team they were last year. Plus, you got the loss of Bergeron and Krejci. There's less eyes on them. But you still got, like, DeBrusk is coming off a good year, and he's going to be a called upon forward. Pasternak is perennial Rocket Richard in the race for it all the time. McAvoy took a huge step last year. They still got the best goaltending tandem in the league. Like, they don't have a whole lot of weaknesses.
No. I don't know. Maybe some people put too much emphasis on the importance of good centers. You want to build a team down the middle, but I don't know, if you have really good quality wingers and a good system and people buy into playing hockey the right way, I think you can overcome, a little bit of deficiency in the middle.
Well, you need strength at every position to a certain degree. You need some depth at every position, but yeah, like, you can't tell me that a guy like Pasternak can't make up for, a centerman that he can't do damage with a second line centerman, right? So
yeah, no, I mean, Marchand and Pasternak are going to keep rolling along. I don't see that stopping. So,
and Marchand's learned leadership through Bergeron. They were best buddies the whole time. So the Bergeron's influence is still there. The culture that was created by Bergeron, the dressing room, is still there. I'm sure Marchand does his part to keep that going because they were, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid together for so many years. So
it's been a funny little schedule for the Oilers to start. They go, they start in Vancouver, they come home, play the Canucks, then they go to Nashville and Philly, then they come home, play the Jets, and then they go to Minnesota to play the Wild, and then they come home to play the Rangers and the Flames, and like it's like 1-2 home games and then road, and it's a little bit disjointed here to start. But Minnesota tomorrow night. What are you expecting in that one?
This, I think, the next 5 games. I hate to say this already, but these are crucial games, just to kind of show what we have, or what we can still do, or what we're expected to do. So I think we have a point to prove the next 5 games. Unfortunately, like, you get teams like Minnesota and Rangers, who are, probably 2 teams that will finish in the top 10 this year. Those are going to be big tests. And then, of course, you follow up with the Battle of Alberta. So if you don't get juiced up for that, then you have some issues. I think we have a lot to prove. So, and I do expect the boys to step up. We're going to need them to step up, especially with McDavid being out now. I'm actually a little bit excited. I mean, as much as I watch McDavid every time he's on, because he does something every game that just makes you stand up or your jaw drop. I'm excited to see, as an Oilers fan, how other guys will step up, if they will step up. And then to get their groove on, and then McDavid comes back. Oh my goodness!
Yeah. I think this might just work in their favor too. I'm kind of the opinion that other guys are going to get more ice time, and you can't rely on Connor anymore because he's not going to be there. So other people have to do it, and I think sometimes, even as players, they get a little hypnotized watching that man do his thing out there. I think it's hard not to. So I think you get away from, watching it, and you start doing a little bit more just because he's not there to.
Well, because you expect him to do that. You expect him to do it. You rely on him to do that, and then and your role changes, right? And so now your role changes again. So now you're the one who has to try and fill a certain void that McDavid's leaving, be it, on a forecheck, or be it on a pass, or be it on a rush, right? So everybody, it's going to be a team effort to try to replace what one guy does.
Yeah. I didn't store the clip, but I can look for it, where Woodcroft talks about Kane's comments there. It was brought up today. I can see if I can find it.
Well, he mentioned the fact that, like you were saying, he liked the fact that Kane said, he took it as a positive thing. This was the guy who was passionate and cared. So yeah, he was frustrated that he wasn't get the playing time. He went out there to grab a fight. That showed that he was engaged. He was there to prove a point. He was there to he was passionate about the game and wanted to contribute in any way possible. I mean, in my mind, Woody said the right stuff and interpreted it the way that, in a positive manner, and was probably right about it.
Yeah, I think I'll save it because it's 8.5 minute clip, and I don't know where he talks about the Kane part of it. So unless I can find that, whatever.
Yeah, okay. I listened to it right before we went on air here, and I was impressed the way Woody interpreted it.
Definitely didn't take offense to it in the media. I mean, maybe he had words with Kane separately, but I don't even think that happened. I kind of think that he just saw it as he's trying to get himself engaged, and
Kane wasn't obnoxious about it. He wasn't a dick about it. I think it'd almost be worse if he had the I don't care mentality about it.
Exactly. Yeah. To me, it just showed that, he's not happy with how he's doing, and he shouldn't be, because it hasn't been great so far. So,
well, I know as a player, like when I played, was like, if I'm struggling but the team is winning, that's a bit easier to handle. I mean, you still want to be able to contribute, but if you're struggling and the team is struggling, you feel like you are a part of the problem. So I think that compounds the frustration level, I think. And I think that's kind of where Kane's coming from. He knows the team is struggling. He knows he's counted on for a number of different things from the team, not just the physical part of it, but he is looked upon as a goal scorer, the top 6 forward, and just hasn't been happening for him. So, it's good. I mean, it'll give him fire. He's one of those guys now that we expect to step up, especially with McDavid out.
For sure. Thanks everybody for watching and commenting in the chats. If you're on YouTube and you want to hit the like button, apparently the algorithm machine likes that and helps kind of boost our channel a little bit. We seem to be pretty popular on TikTok with videos, getting almost 50,000 views. And I posted the Kane fight the other day, and it's almost at 50,000 views too. So crazy how that algorithm machine there works.
You got a couple of good licks then, eh? He got a couple of good licks on that. He threw 2 pretty good punches there that snuck in nicely. Yeah, he lost the wrestling battle at the end, but he got 2 good shots in there.
He caught him with a nice right cross and then followed it up with a little uppercut to the chin that did some damage. And I think Dylan had enough and then took him down to the ice because he was tired of getting beat. Kind of cool that they both decided, okay, let's fight the old-fashioned way. Let's not only drop the flippers, but drop the buckets and get after it. I enjoyed that. I don't know what the point is of fighting a guy with his helmet and his visor on just to bust open your hand and not really do anything.
Yeah, but they're trying to discourage the guys from fighting to begin with, and so now they're calling it a safety issue because when they fall down the ice, they don't knock their head on the ice, right? I think if anything, Kane and DeMello there showed respect for each other, saying, you know what, we don't want to bust our hands on it, so let's just go lids off and we'll deal with the consequences.
Former teammates, and it's kind of interesting because for one, you think, okay, this is bad blood carrying over from San Jose. But yet they both kind of decide together to drop the lids too. So there's like a gentleman's agreement that we hate each other. So let's do this the old-fashioned way. Like I just chuckle at that. It's kind of funny.
Well, they were jawing each other in the penalty box there too, and they were laughing, joking around. So I think DeMello did the same thing as Kane. The Jets have been struggling. DeMello hasn't been doing too much neither. So I think they both had the same agenda.
Got to correct you, Brendan Dillon.
Oh, yeah, I keep saying DeMello. Yeah, sorry.
No, that's okay. I got you. That's why we're here. Oh man, what else is there?
Okay, now who do you think is starting next game, goaltending wise?
Wow. I don't know. I don't think it's an easy decision. Like I don't think either guy has kind of grabbed the net and ran with it yet. I like Skinner's start other than that gaff, and I like Campbell's start in Philly other than the shorty that beat him over the shoulder. So to me, it's a bit of a saw off. I think Campbell's rocking a little bit of a higher save percentage, so maybe you go to that as a reason to go back to Jack. I don't know.
Which is still a sad statement, though, because I'm not sure if his save percentage is anything spectacular. But
no, I think he's right around 9.
Well, he's over 900. He's 902.
Yeah, he's right around 900. Yeah. So.
But I agree with you, though. I don't think either guy has actually shown yet that it's his net. So until one guy does, you're going to be alternating them. Like I go back to Campbell this next game. Skinner didn't prove that he should be in, and Campbell has already proven to show that he should be in. So I think you keep going back and forth. Like the one time we had back-to-back start was because Campbell had an all-star game against Nashville, so he earned that next start. So I say we keep doing that.
Yeah. I guess the other thing you could look to is, their career numbers versus Minnesota.
Yeah, and tell you the truth, I don't know what they are, so I'm not sure who has a better track record against Minnesota or not. So.
And they
that's one thing you can do, even though Woody has stated before that you can't really take past experience into the future when you talk about Draisaitl in Nashville, and Draisaitl has another 4-point night anyways.
He just unloads on them every time. Yeah. That Grim Reaper meme where they're knocking on the doors? It's like he's at Nashville. He's knocking on Nashville's door again.
I thought Tyson Berry had a great comment. They interviewed him before the game, and they're like, "So how do you think it's gonna happen with Draisaitl against Nashville this time?" And Tyson's like, "Well, I'm not there to pass the puck to him anymore." So he was expecting him to have success.
Yeah.
And then boom, 4-point night.
Sorry, Barry. Sorry, Ty. Yeah, he just unloads on them. Today they made a big deal about Skinner trying out Grant Fuhr kind of look-alike pads for the Heritage Classic. So to me, that indicates that maybe he's going to be the starter on Sunday. So
actually, I don't read into that because this has happened before too, and they just get new this kind of equipment for the throwbacks, whether you're playing or not. Like even some of the Black Aces will have kind of throwback stuff. So I I forget the goalie who it was. I think it was a Philly game. The guy had like a Bernie Prawn style mask, but he didn't even play that game. He sat on the bench. But I gotta say, I saw the pictures of Skinner's pads, and I love it. I love that throwback. That was some pad porn on Twitter today.
I saw your tweet. Yeah, should have helped give you a boost there. I'm sorry, I was doing other things. Yeah, and then the Rangers are on Thursday, so that's probably going to be a tough test too. So,
oh man, is it ever? You got Shesterkin in there, you got Panarin in there, like it.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I think the Oilers can't worry about 2 games from now. I think they have to worry about the task at hand.
Minnesota's gonna be tough to test anyways. Like,
yeah,
they're a team to be reckoned with.
Try to dig out of the funk we're in. So, yeah.
Well, one thing they've always preached, how they just look at win the day, right? So that's having a good practice, a good meeting, whatever. It's about winning the day. So one day at a time. So tomorrow is game day. We win that day by winning that game.
Yeah. I think that's about all I got in my head. I don't know if you had anything else.
No, I felt bad that Jill couldn't make it, obviously, but I really want to touch on the McDavid thing. I want to touch on the rough start the Oilers have had. Lotsy put out a good article on the Heavy Hockey Network.com, and it's about remaining optimistic and how the future is still bright for the Oilers this season. Even though we have a rough start, he's got some numbers that back it up, and he's got some theories that back it up. So it's definitely worth checking out. I already had that mindset. I'm still optimistic. I'd rather go through this now than at the 60-game mark when we're in a playoff race, perhaps. So Woody makes his adjustments. I'm telling you, I'm excited for the adjustments that he make, and then Connor comes back and just rocket ship.
Yeah, I guess that's something else we could touch on. What do you think lines are going to look like?
Oh man. Well, I heard.
Let me rephrase that. If you were putting together the lines,
don't put that on me, Durst.
Oh yeah. No, you got it. You're responsible. You're coaching tomorrow night. Who you doling out there with each other?
I do like the fact that first off, touching on that power play, that they're moving Kane up there, so that's going to be a bit of a different look on the power play. But that's still a lot of skill. Like Kane's probably on the number 1 power play unit on probably any other team. So that's going to help us. Oh my goodness, what do we do for lines? Well, yeah, geez. Wait, Fogel's shown that he can play up there. I think you try to keep that line intact as best as possible. I think you move Brown probably back up in the top 6 again now. Mind you, they've done a good job too, that line, eh? Jeez. But I know.
I
put me on the spot here, Durst. I don't know.
That's what I'm here.
You move Holloway up in top 6?
Yeah, I think so. I think now's the time that you give him a look. And maybe
I think he's earned it.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe what you do is ask Evander Kane to play right wing and put him out there with Leon and Holloway, and you keep Nuge, Hyman, and Fogel together. McLeod with Connor Brown and
McLeod and Brown have they don't look too bad. I think Brown likes playing with these young guys, so a little bit. Yadmark.
Yeah, that's the guy, and then have Ernie and
Ryan there.
They'll go back to 12 and then 11 and 7. Yeah, because you can't call anybody up. So
yeah,
no, that's the lines. Yeah, that's what we do.
I like it. I like giving Holloway a shot on the top 6 there. Like I said, he's been one of our hardest working, if not most consistent.
Although maybe I'll rethink the start of that. Maybe keep Kane at left wing because he's struggling, and then asking him to play on his wrong side might be more than he can handle. But the way Holloway's going, I don't think it matters where he is. So put him on right wing and Kane on left with Dry.
I think Holloway might even be a bit more versatile. So that's not a bad idea. I agree with you because it didn't Holloway has some center experience, right? So yeah. So he can be all over the ice. And Kane's been predominantly a left winger most of his career, so that's pretty set. And you're right, he's struggling. Maybe put him back where in his comfort zone there, and just leave him there. Fight it out. I like it. Let's fire it up. Let's give Woody a call and say, hey, we got a plan.
Get him on the horn.
Yeah. Well, we know he probably watches this. Probably.
It's got to.
He's got it. Probably.
Yeah. If not, get him a subscription.
Under an alias, probably. He might be something stranger for all we know. I'm not sure.
Some stranger is definitely a stranger. He's a ninja. Nobody knows, but he's always there. Well, my man, this is a little shorter than we normally do, but I think this is a good spot to leave it. You know, the guys are saying that we always lose to Mini, like 1-9 in the last 10 or something like that. Tomorrow's a good time to buck that trend and get a win and start climbing back to respectability, and get feeling a little bit better. And maybe the noise of everything is chaos in the Oilers dressing room will cease to exist, after a few wins and people start exhaling and getting off the bridge.
Just think of that. What that would do for team confidence to beat, Mini, strong, potentially top 10 overall team in the league. By the time it's all said and done, to win a game like that as a team without your captain, the greatest player in the game, that's going to build your confidence big time.
I got to follow that up with, if this team truly does have what it takes to win a Stanley Cup, they need to be able to win regular season hockey games without Connor.
Yeah.
He should be that extra that just puts you over the top and wins you, not only regular season games, but playoff games. And, but if you really have what it takes to win a Stanley Cup, you need to be able to win a regular season game without your captain and your best player. Kucherov spent lots of time out. Tampa still did their thing. Makar, lots of teams have to go through adversity. Lots of teams have to go through injuries. Hopefully this is it for our marquee players, but you never know. But,
it also shows
bear down.
It also shows how dangerous you are still. So say, it changes the perspective of the opposition. You're always going to give guys like McDavid and Draisaitl extra attention because they are who they are. But now this also shows that if you shut down McDavid somehow, this is still a dangerous team because they've shown they can win without McDavid in the lineup.
Yeah. Apologize to all the Sabres fans that tuned in tonight expecting to see Jill. She had something she had to take care of there that was more important than me and you shooting the shit about hockey. Appreciate you coming on. Chad was in a course, thought he'd be able to show up a little bit late, but it didn't pan out. But I think we've exhausted everything, and we'll be back next Monday for sure. Maybe Tuesday or Thursday, do a post game, or I guess even Sunday after the Heritage Classic might be something too. But for sure, next Monday we'll be back. Not sure if Jill will make it then, or we'll just be back talking about the 3 games that are upcoming. But hopefully the Oilers
talking about Oiler wins.
Yeah, hopefully the Oilers start to dig themselves out of this little hole that they've dug themselves into, one game at a time. Thanks for watching, everybody. Subscribe to us on YouTube and every social media outlet. I guess we're there. Tomorrow at some point I'll have this on Spotify and iTunes and all those channels, and keep listening, keep subscribing, keep chatting in the comments. We love it. It's great. Thanks for checking us out, and we'll let you out of here with our favorite outro cool down music. Keep your sticks on the ice, keep reaching for the stars, and go Oilers go. Let's get some wins.